So, welcome to our annual student meet. Thank you so much for taking the time out on Saturday. I know that this is a period for students who are applying to colleges this year, whether in India or abroad, or whether there are students who are in grade 10 or even in grade 9 who are thinking about the fact that college is looming ahead of them and they need to work towards it. I know this is a time when all inputs are valuable. And anyway, I'm sure a lot of people are giving you advice. I remember even when my children were in grade 10, 11, and 12, everywhere you go, everyone is giving you advice on what college to go to. And you hear from other people's experiences. And soon you realize that there is so much out there, so many universities, so many courses and so many things to think through. Is this right for me? Is that not right for me? And I've always found that what is most valuable for students and parents is to speak to other students and parents and to get a sense of reassurance that things work out in a particular way and what are the best things to do. And that's why every year we get together a number of our students from universities across the world to talk to other students and to answer questions and to share their experiences. And always our students are most excited and most forthcoming to answer a lot of your questions. So here we go. And I hope that this will be a very useful webinar for all of you. I'll invite you all to ask questions. It's also good for the speakers because then they know what to answer and what it is that you're particularly looking for. So you can write your questions in the chat as we go along, or you can, ask to be unmuted and then you can ask your question directly as well. Our webinars are always very interactive, so please make the most of it. That's really what I would say. So before we go further into the webinar, a quick introduction. My name is Richa. I run I Know Me Learning. I Know Me is named after our philosophy of self-discovery. It means I know myself, which is that I know what is right for me and I will navigate the path according to my intelligence about myself. And as counselors, our effort is to help you understand who you are and help you make choices with confidence and with some thinking and logic so that it really aligns with who you are. Right. So before we plunge into the webinar, I just want to show you our little film. Some of you must have seen it before. It's just sort of encapsulates what I Know Me stands for. And with that, then we will step into the webinar. Give me a moment to share my screen. Right, so I hope that all of you will really find this journey exciting for yourselves as well and land up in the place that's just perfect for you. All right, so how is this webinar going to go? So we'll really start with students from UK and Singapore sharing their experiences, introducing themselves, and then feel free to ask them any questions so that you understand that experience a little bit better. And after that, we will move on to the other destinations. Right. So in our first segment, we've got Manya Sokhanda, who's studying in Goldsmiths in UK. Manya, if you'll turn on your video, please. And we have Kabir Ahuja, who's studying in Warwick, and he's studying economics in Warwick. Kabir, is it economics or is it a economics plus something course?
Oh, it's actually accounting and finance.
Accounting and finance, right? And Arushi, who's studying psychology in NUS, right? So they are all three wonderful institutes and all three very different streams. One is a more business and finance oriented stream. Psychology is a very, very popular area today. So many of our students are applying for psychology. And art and design is, of course, a completely different approach. And Manya's experience will also be very different from what you hear from different students. So I hope to get the most of this. And let me begin by inviting all our speakers to give you just a little brief about themselves. So, Kabir, why don't we start with you?
Hi guys, I hope you're having a good evening today. My name is Kabir Ahuja and I'm here from Gurgaon, India. I study at Warwick Business School and I am doing a bachelor's in science in accounting and finance. And I also have a placement year in my degree, which is my third year. I studied at Heritage Experiential Learning School over here in Gurgaon prior to going to Warwick. And I want to major into finance, potentially going into a CFA followed by an MBA. So yeah.
Thank you so much. Thanks, Kabir. Arushi, if we can hear from you.
Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Arushi. I'm also from Gurgaon. I study at the Shriram School at Aravali, and I'm currently pursuing my bachelor's degree at the National University of Singapore. I'm double majoring in psychology and business management. Yeah, and I finished 2 years, and for my third year, I'm going to be going for an exchange program to Cornell University.
That's really wonderful. I'm sure many, many students want to do exactly that. And NUS is a very difficult one to get through, just as Warwick is almost on everybody's dream list. So we are very, very happy to have both of you here. Manya, I'm connecting with you directly, I think, after you joined college. So it's really wonderful to hear from you. Please introduce yourself as well.
Hi, it's really nice to see you again as well. Hi, my name is Manya. I'm from Gurgaon originally, but I've been living in Bangalore for the last 10, 11 years. And I go to Goldsmiths, Goldsmiths, and I'm studying media and communications. I'm doing an integrated degree of 4 years, and currently I'm my second year. And it's been going good. I'm mostly interested in film, and currently I just finished my film course, and then I'll also be doing journalism next year. And I graduated from Bangalore International School. So,
Right.
yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Manya. So, all of you students are right now studying in countries that are becoming increasingly popular, partly because of what is happening in the US and because the US used to be this extremely popular destination, and now everybody's like, is that the right place to go? And then they're like, so if not US, then where else? And then UK and Singapore are the next two most popular destinations. All students want to apply there. So I want to begin by asking each of you what your experience of studying in this country is like, right? So if you were to tell somebody that, it's a great idea to study in the UK or in Singapore, or if you were to say, but be careful about this, what would you say? What's the experience of studying in this country like? Manya, why don't we start with you?
I've learned how to be a lot more independent, and I've been having to force myself to do a lot of things that I typically wouldn't have done I think if I had been in an Indian university. I don't know if everyone knows this, but I was in OP Jindal for a couple of weeks before I went to Goldsmiths, because my A-level results took a while to come. And it was a very different experience because in the UK, I was all by myself. So I had to learn how to do a lot of things like bank information, student like studies, everything. I was just doing it by myself rather than my parents helping me with anything. And that was a very different experience. And I think I learned how to be a lot more independent. I live in South London, and my university isn't as big as other like universities. So I think that's why there was a lot more comfort knowing that. And I think that's why there's a lot more focus on the students as well. Um, and overall, it's been a really good experience, very different from what I imagined it to be. And it's really forced me to like push myself in a lot of different ways. And yeah.
I know that that movement from OP Jindal to Goldsmiths was really, really welcome for you, and something that you're really enjoying now. And your sister is studying in UBC in Canada, right? So,
Yeah, she's
from her too, you would have got a sense of what being a student in Canada is like. So, do you feel that, something about studying in UK is more exciting, lot more Indian students, or what is your experience when you compare it to the Canadian student experience that you've seen through your sister's college journey?
Well, there were actually a lot less Indians in my university than in hers. Like UBC, they're like it's just surrounded with Indians. Like there's so many there, they're everywhere. But so that's why that kind of pushed me to speak with more people like from different cultures, and I learned a lot from them as well. And kind of pushed me to learn more about British culture as well, because a lot of the friends I've made are like from the UK or like near London. So that was really interesting as well. Um, I think that her university is much bigger, and I think that her course is different from mine. So I can't really compare in terms of courses. Like hers was psychology, and I'm doing like media, more like arts. So it's like very different experience. But I think that she like uh I think she was under maybe more pressure than I was. I think I have a little bit more support, I guess, with teachers, or my courses are easier. So I I think she'll be offended if I say that, oh, my course is harder. So
Right, right. No, also I believe art and design has a very different environment, though there's pressure, but if you really enjoy the creative arts, then it's something you are able to do. Academics in leading universities like UBC can be high pressure, especially around exams and submissions. So I would
yes.
say that
Uh,
experience is very different, right?
Sorry to interrupt, but I don't really have like traditional exams. Like I have like
That's what
main.
I was comparing it to Shaila's experience. So,
Yeah.
it wouldn't be there. But you would
So
have submissions.
yes, of course. Yeah, I have take-home exams and I have a lot of like essays I need to write. In fact, for my film course, I had to shoot a couple of short films, which was really fun and interesting experience. They were a lot more like hands-on, like not really like they want us to experience things rather than write things and learn. Like, like they'll tell us things, we write it down. So it's very different. Like I don't have traditional exams, which is also a huge relief. So it's yeah, it's
Wonderful. Manya, this is a very interesting conversation about the creative arts and, working in the UK with the creative arts. And I'll come back to that in a little bit. While we're on UK, Kabir, if I can hear from you also what you feel the UK experience is like, if you were to advise somebody on it or give them a note of caution or, what they should particularly pay focus and attention to.
So speaking about UK, it's been a year since I've gone, and my year just ended right now, and I'm back in India. It's definitely very rigid. It's definitely a lot to learn, and it's definitely very different. As Manya said, you get a sense of independence a lot. So my university is like an hour west of London, so I don't really have that much of a city life. Rather, I have a big campus, so that is a plus point for me. And one of the factors while choosing a university for me was a campus. I really wanted that, so I got what I wanted. Talking about my degree, so accounting and finance is a very competitive degree, and Warwick is placed second or first, alternatively with LSE all the time on it. So again, the cohort like I got was extremely competitive, which was overwhelming at first, but then you get like an idea on how to deal with it, right? And managing your studies, managing your extracurriculars, as well as managing yourself, going out and doing everything independently, cleaning, cooking, whatever, is a toll, but I think it's been an enriching experience for me in that matter. Um, how to deal with yourself in exams and how to, socialize as well in tougher times is something I've also learned a lot. So for anyone, I think going to UK, it's only a good choice if I mean you're ready for the commitments I said earlier right now. Um, Again, it's a very vibrant community over there, so you get to know a lot of new people, and you get to know that yeah, there are people who are really your competition, and it's nice knowing them too. One more thing is that for me, the reason I chose UK over the other countries I'd applied to was because of the fact that of a major financial hub right in the center of UK, right? And that's Canary Wharf. and that's pretty ideal for me. So that's why I chose this experience, and it's been pretty good so far. So yeah.
Wonderful, Kabir. And you would have a large Indian student community there as well, right? Since Warwick is so popular in India.
Yeah, Warwick is filled with tons of students from India, especially from Delhi, Mumbai, and Bangalore and Kolkata. So a lot of students reach for the management or the accounting and finance degree, especially. But increasingly, like there have been a lot of applicants from India as well that increase over the years. So yeah.
So, do you find yourself gelling easily with the Indian crowd and the international crowd? Or does it happen that a lot of the Indians stick together? How has your experience been in mingling with this intercultural group that's there?
So I think that it's definitely much easier to gel with an Indian crowd. And I have a lot of Indian friends over there, who I'm really close to at the moment. But although it's a bit more difficult to gel with a crowd from a different culture, perhaps, I think it's pretty valuable if you have, friends from different countries. Let's say, like I've got friends from UK, Singapore, Malaysia, all of these countries too. So I feel like it's a lot of fun also because they're different kinds of people, so they hang out in a different way too. And knowing different kinds of people, really improves your experience at your university. So yeah.
That's great to hear, Kabir. So we'll come back and understand more about Warwick, and particularly since you're participating a lot in the sports over there, I'd really like to understand that aspect of it. Let's hear from Arushi about Singapore, since Singapore is on everybody's dream list and it's a difficult one to get into. So at the same time, we've heard so much about the culture of Singapore and the academic environment in Singapore. So tell us, Arushi, the advantages, disadvantages, how should a student think about it?
Okay, so for me, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, Singapore is a pretty intense, I think everyone knows in terms of like academics. It is highly structured, there's a lot of competition. But for me personally, I feel like I thrive in such kinds of environments, right? Where people around you are so driven, they're so focused that it really pushes you and motivates you to just work harder. And I think that's what happened for me. Initially, I think as Kabir said, I think as in any university, it will be a bit overwhelming. But once you get into the routine, once you get into you get accustomed to the environment, I think you really find your space, you really find what works for you and what doesn't. And in terms of Singapore, I think I was very like fast that I want to go to a place which has a campus and a campus life. And also, I didn't want to go too far away from home. So I was really debating between India and Singapore. And I think this
Okay, you
was a
had
very good,
some great admissions from UK as well, I remember. And
yeah.
you were debating between India, UK, and Singapore, and Canada also. Didn't you have some very good admissions from Canada? And then you chose Singapore. So partly because
Right.
it's close to home, and partly,
Partly because it's close to home, partly because there is a good campus here. And also, I think in terms of academics, in terms of the reputation, this was kind of on the top. So I think for me, I knew that I don't want to go to a place which is just going to be like it's going to give me this like, same structure, the same routine, but something which will definitely make me like push harder. I wanted to kind of see where I can go. So I think my parents are very happy that I'm in Singapore as a girl. It's super safe. It is close to home. You're still rooted to your Asian grounds. You don't have to worry about food and all. You get everything. You can get your butter chicken and everything on campus every day if you really want to. So, yeah, I think in terms of other things, there's a lot of opportunity. It's a like fast-driven place, so there's a lot of opportunity if you make use of it. So I'm still trying to do that. And yeah, I mean, I'm very happy with my choice. But at the end of the day, like if I were to advise students, I would tell them that be like keep in mind that at the end of the day, it's still Asian. So you won't have as much of international exposure from different parts of the world. Your community is still limited to Asia, like Japanese, Koreans, a lot of South Indians more than North Indians. So yeah, I think that's something which is important to keep in mind.
right. I was in fact going to ask you about that. that while you're saying that yes, it's a lot Asian and in that sense not so international, but even that, actually even between North India and South India, when I see North Indian students going to South India, they say they are suffering a cultural shock, right? So then going to Singapore and being in this largely Asian community, what is that intercultural experience like?
I think, firstly, if you're anyways planning to go international, it's important you keep an open mind, right? And maybe you'll find like a bit of culture difference, but definitely not as much. Let's say you will go to the UK and US. So you find your Indian community here, there's a lot of Indians. In terms of North Indian, South Indians, I feel like there is a divide, but when you come to university, you see that if they have gotten admission into universities like NUS, that they are still focused, they are still motivated. So I think that culture divide is not as much. Like most of my friends are South Indians. So yeah, I think it's just you fit in because of the culture here. And at the end of the day, Indians feel at home when they're with Indians, especially in an international community, whether you're from North or South. So yeah, I would say that.
Wonderful, Arushi. Thank you so much. I know a lot of people would be very interested in understanding the pathway to NUS as well, and we will just discuss that in a moment. I wanted to understand from you all a little bit about how, the cultural experiences in terms of the clubs, societies and sports. That is it mostly that, Manya, if we can start with you there, that is it mostly, I know you don't live on campus, right? You live in student accommodation that is off campus. So then is it just that you guys go to college for the campus thing and then for classes, and then the rest of the day you're doing your own thing in and around London, or is there a lot of engagement within Goldsmiths as well?
I think that it's a bit of both. I did live in student accommodation. Now I live in a flat that's like right next to the university. And they do have like a lot of clubs and stuff. Like there's a cheerleading club, there's a English society which I'm part of, and there are like so many societies. There's a DJing society, there's a volleyball society, there are a lot of things. And I think that the university does have those things to offer, but also London itself, like it's London, there's so many things you can explore there. Like a friend of mine, he's doing an English degree, but he's really into acting. So he just randomly went around and he heard that there was a play and he auditioned and he got in, and now he's come back early in the summer to act in the play. So there are a lot of different cultural events that are happening like all over London, and I've got experience like a lot of different events like that. And it's been really interesting to see that because I've been like, I've seen things which I never thought I'd see before, like a lot of interesting theater performances. It's been really interesting. And I think Central London is a bit far for me, but I still try to go at least like twice, thrice a month because there's like so much that has to offer. Um,
It
sorry.
is an exciting student city, and I'm sure, I hope at least that you are really enjoying all the theater, maybe, sometimes, and everything
Yeah.
else that London has to offer. So, really great to hear that from you, Manya. Um, if I can ask you, Kabir, you were really highly involved in chess in school as well. So, one question I wanted to ask you, which a lot of students do struggle with, is that, when you were in class 11th and 12th, I remember you were doing a lot of chess tournaments, as well as I remember you had a very strict math tuition as well, right? Which was very long hours, and then there's all the academic load, and then there is applying to college. So thinking back, what advice would you give to students who are trying to balance so many things in their grade 11 and 12?
Um, to answer your question, I think that yeah, definitely balancing so many things wasn't easy. I had a ton of extracurriculars as well as chess, as well as getting the marks that you need for college. All together to synchronize all of them, I followed this one thing called what I used to do is I used to prioritize what is important at that time, right? And I used to live in that moment, and I used to just try to finish that one particular task that I know is the most important at that time. So I feel like just doing that is like enough to just get everything done in time. And one more thing is you also have to have fun. Whether it be as tough as possible. When you apply to college, it's extremely stressful. I applied to 4 countries, so for me it was a lot of work. I believe that if you don't give time to yourself, if you don't spend time with your friends or whatever you guys do for fun, then it's just going to lead to eventual burnouts, which is a mistake I also made, which led to that. So that's one thing. Secondly, I also feel like making checklists and yeah, like I said, prioritizing everything based on, the due date or maybe the level of importance or maybe the amount of time required is the key to it, to answer your question now.
Right. And now in Warwick also you've gotten involved in chess, which I'm really so happy to hear since you were anyway playing international tournaments when you were here in class 11th and 12th. You were playing definitely district and national level, but also with some exposure to international level tournaments, but not so much. Now out there, tell me what you've been able to get into with chess. How easy was it? How competitive was it?
So Warwick has some of the one of the best teams for chess in the country. This year we played the British University's chess championship and we lost to Oxford unfortunately in the last round. So we came second. I think there are some wonderful talents there in Warwick as well, which give me a lot of competition. Some who are like older to me, so they're senior to me as well. But I think it's widely accessible. So the Warwick Chess Society there's a society which is one of the fastest growing ones over there. And to just define it, society culture is pretty common in Warwick. So I just feel that um, getting to know the Warwick Chess Society was the way to get into the teams as well. And obviously, you have to play well. You have to win like some of the matches, and that's how I got into it. So I played a couple of tournaments here and there over there. Uh, Obviously, I can't like get back into it as a passion, as a profession, because it's really tough to manage it in college time. But I've played a lot of tournaments, and I'm the captain right now, so I think that's pretty good in my opinion.
Wow, you're the captain. That's really wonderful, Kabir. Congratulations to you. Yeah, I think really for you, the academics and the extracurriculars have come together beautifully. Sounds like a really excellent choice for you because I remember you two had many options that you were choosing between, and that really sounds like you've made a really great choice for yourself there.
Yeah.
Arushi, I want to ask you the same thing about the extracurricular environment there. Like, have you been able to do more activities outside academics? Is there time? What kind of opportunities are there?
Okay, I think like living on campus really you get a lot of benefit out of that because there's so many clubs and so many societies in NUS. I think over like 200 if I'm not mistaken. And they're not just academic, you have a lot of opportunities to pick up things you were not able to pick up before. And I think a good thing is here everything is run by students. So you can join as a member and then slowly take up head positions or president positions to run those societies and clubs themselves. And I think NUS really focuses on students picking up extracurriculars. So they keep like Wednesdays, like the second half of Wednesdays, almost the full for students to just do these activities as well. And one thing I've seen is that there's a lot of energy among these like Asians. So even till like late at night, they're like practicing and rehearsing for sports and dance and singing and whatnot. So I think that's something I've also learned to like balance and do things apart from just studies because that's where you really interact with other people, right? Because in class, it's interaction is still limited. So yeah, I think I picked up a few extracurriculars which are focused to psych and business and exploring marketing and all, but also things I'm trying to. I was a dancer in school, so I'm pursuing my dance in university, and I've also taken up a bit of like squash because Singapore keeps raining, so trying to do like some indoor sport as well. So yeah, I think over time I've learned to balance everything, and it's a lot of fun.
Wonderful. So it's the kind of place where nothing is taken casually. Like even if people are practicing for music or dance, it's all full out and
Yeah.
put their everything into it. And that's really an environment in which you would thrive, Arushi, knowing you. So it really sounds for all three of you that you've really found a place that gels very well and aligns very well with your personality. Now, as we close this segment, I want each of you to think and give students who may want to apply to your university for whichever course, to NUS or to Warwick or to Goldsmiths or any other art and design university, one piece of advice that what can someone do to prepare themselves best to get admission into this university? Arushi, why don't you go first?
Okay, for me, I'm going to be very honest. It is a lot of marks for Singapore universities, especially NUS. So instead of and I think that's where like Richa ma'am and her team also helped me. Instead of doing a lot of things, just focus on your studies and pursue like maybe one or two extracurricular things you're doing and just focus on that. Yeah, don't try to do a lot of things because that's not going to help you, especially for a place like NUS.
Wonderful, Arushi. So be academically focused, and then everything else is a cherry on top of that. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Arushi. Though you were doing a lot of things, I remember. But yes, your point is taken. Kabir, how about you? A lot of students are focused on going to Warwick. So what advice would you give them?
So I think that Warwick is getting like NUS also. Like I think Warwick is getting extremely competitive day by day. Year on year, they're adding more courses as well, and now I think there's an entrance test too. I'm not too familiar with that, but I think
Of
there's an
course,
entrance
yes.
test as well. Prior to that, it was marks. So, like Arushi said, marks are the main thing. You need to have a lot of good marks. A lot of my friends this year and a year previous to this, when I was graduating, got into Warwick, got their degrees, but couldn't come because they missed their condition. So I feel that academic rigor and academically you have to be really, really well. And I think yeah, marks is the main thing. Except for marks, UK is very focused on the subject. So I applied to a few universities for economics and I applied to a few for accounting and finance. And what you need to do is you need to tailor your extracurriculars to your subject. And in the SOP that you have that you are supposed to write, and you need to basically answer how a particular experience X or Y has helped you, gain more interest and gain more experience in that particular subject. So for example, let's say I did an internship, so I need to tell them how this internship helped me, incline my interest towards finance or something like that. So I think two things are really necessary. One's good marks, obviously, and second is just tailoring your CV to who you are and how you as a person is good for that degree. So you need to explain that really well. And I think that's the key to get into a college like Warwick Business School. So
So
yeah.
what you're saying is that it should be that a lot of your extracurriculars should focus around the degree that you're applying for. And unlike when a lot of people are looking at the US, they think that I need to do some community connect projects or I need to do, social work projects. Here, a lot of your projects need to build your academic depth, and that's the sort of profile that is really ultimately a winning profile. If I'll pick up one thing and just paraphrase it a little bit, Kabir, which is about marks. I think, and particularly that line you said about meet your conditions, I think that's really what some students who are focused on the UK should remember, that you get your admits and you get conditional offers. And often then a lot of students just relax and, oh, I've got this offer. But the boards can be challenging and things can go this way and that. So you really need to keep your energy up and make sure that you really perform very well in your boards before you can relax and say, okay, class 12 is now sort of conquered. So remember that, and meeting the conditions is very important. Thank you for that, Kabir. Thank you so much. Manya, how about you? If a student is applying for art and design to the UK, what kind of advice would you have for them?
Um, I mean, I did media and communications, but it is like a lot of Goldsmiths is mostly an arts university. And I think that one thing is that what he said about, tailoring your extracurriculars to like match with your subject, I think that's important. And I think just being passionate about whatever art, whatever thing you're interested in is also really important. Like I think in statements, like they can tell when you don't care that much, and I think they can tell when you really are passionate about whatever you want to pursue. I think that's really important, and I think just being open-minded while you're at university, open-minded to learn about different perspectives and different opinions, and learning about different things. Having open discussions about them. So I think that's also really important, just being open-minded. And I think just having a willingness to like try a lot of different things, you know. Obviously, grades are also really important, but they're not like the only thing, you know. There should be other
For art
aspects.
and design, I would imagine the portfolio would be more important than the grades. And I do remember you had done a lot of things in media. You had made
Yeah.
a short film, you had done a social media internship, I think, with Heads Up for Tales. And there was a podcast that you all were working on, which didn't ultimately uh, uh, take off the ground, but nevertheless, a lot of valiant effort went into it. So, point taken that one should build your extracurriculars around the same area and be open minded to learn. Wonderful. So, thank you very much, all of you. I think that a lot of students who are looking at applying to UK and Singapore would have got a lot of knowledge and a lot of inspiration for you, and you are very inspiring students. So, thank you so much for joining this.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you, Kabir. Thank you, Manya. Thank you, Arushi. Thanks. All right. So we thought we'll start with UK and Singapore and then move to, our central piece is going to be students from India. Because while everybody is looking at applying abroad and studying abroad, but everybody also seriously considers options in India. And now with so many liberal arts universities and even Plaksha, which is a very strong STEM university, there are many options in India that students can really look at. So we've got together a selection of students who will speak to you about Indian universities. We have two students from Ashoka, Zara and Sanaa. And we have Hunar from Flame University, which is on everybody's list. Ashoka needs no introduction. It's also mostly on everybody's list. And Flame is on absolutely everybody's list. And we have Ahmedabad University. We have Tamanna from Ahmedabad University, which is very much an emerging university and a university to watch out for. So welcome to the webinar, all of you. If you are here, can I request you to turn your videos on? Yeah, there you all are. Okay, wonderful. So just give me 1 minute. All right. So if I can start with asking all of you to just introduce yourselves, that would be really nice. If we can start perhaps with Tamanna.
Hi, so I'm Tamanna. I'm a graduate of Shivnala School, where my subjects were psychology, sociology, maths, economics, and English. I am now in Ahmedabad University. I'll be entering my second year this month. My major is psychology and most likely a minor in HR.
Right. Okay, wonderful. And one line about Ahmedabad University, what do you feel about it?
One line is maybe a campus which shows its true self on Wednesdays because that's when all the club activities take place, and it's really like all the people are on the campus that day, and something or the other is always happening on that day. So
Wonderful. A campus that shows itself on Wednesday. So if you want to check out what Ahmedabad University really is, visit it on a Wednesday. All right. Very, very good. So now, Zara, if you are there, Zara, if you'll introduce yourself, please.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Zara. I am from Gurgaon. I studied in Chandra school where my subjects were also psychology, econ, math, English, and accounts. I'm in Ashoka University now. I just completed my first year, and I'm planning on doing a major in psychology with a minor in economics and entrepreneurship. Yeah.
Okay, very good. So I will not ask you for a line on Ashoka right now, but there'll be a lot more for you to say about Ashoka as things go on. And Sana, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. I am Sana. I am also a student at Ashoka University. I just finished my first year. And before Ashoka, I was in Pathway School, Gurgaon, where I was since second grade. So I graduated from there uh, with with a diploma program, and I developed across a lot of interest in disciplines of economics, public policy, and environmental studies. So hence, I chose Ashoka so that I could have an open curriculum, be close to home, and explore these subjects before I actually choose a major, uh, specifically going along with the environmental studies subject, because I would really wanted to do environmental studies, but major was a bit confusing, so I really wanted to leave that an open option. Right now, I intend to do economics and public policy, but let's see how it goes.
Right. Let's see how it goes. Very interesting to watch. And economics and public policy is a very, very big area. So please do explore it with all your heart, but choose what really your heart says because there's so many opportunities in the world today. Thanks, Sana. Hunar, you are there. I can't immediately see you. Yeah, there
Uh,
you Right, Hunar. So, like I was telling you, everybody is looking at Flame as a potential option for themselves. So, introduce yourself, please, and tell us a line about Flame.
yeah, sure. So, hi, I'm Hunar. I'm from Mumbai, and I've studied in Arya Vidya Mandir School. I just completed my first year at Flame University, and I'm pursuing a BSc in Data Science and Economics at Flame. And a line about Flame that I would say is it's a perfect balance of academics and co-curriculars.
Ah, right. Absolutely. Flame is well known for a lot of its extracurriculars, particularly for sports. So why don't I ask you about that first? That, so many of my students tell me that, if you're really someone who wants to pursue sports in college, then Flame is a place to go. It has a very vibrant sports culture. Plus, Flame has so many other universities. I'm not Flame, Pune has so many other universities in the city, from Symbiosis to MIT and a lot of leading universities. So I believe it's very much a student city in that sense. So tell us about what that cultural environment in Flame is like.
Yep. So actually, Flame is a little further from Pune. It's like a 20-minute drive away from Pune, the main Pune city. But like, if you talk about the sports, it's the facilities are like world class, and there's a sports team for every sport that you play. So like, even if you play some sport like a small sport such as frisbee, there's a team for frisbee as well, and there are clubs for every sport as well. So you can join the club even if you don't play the sport, but you're interested in it. So there's one or the other thing for everybody.
Right. Okay, and what have you been able to join, Hunar? What else are you being able to do?
So I'm in the tennis team. I play tennis professionally, and other than that, I've touched upon cricket. I've touched upon badminton, table tennis, squash, all racket sports I've touched upon.
Wow. All
Yeah.
within the space of 1 year, right?
Yes, all within 1 year.
Fantastic. That's something I'm sure a lot of students would like to do. So that's wonderful to hear from you. So tell us about the cultural environment in the Ashoka campus in terms of activities and extracurriculars. Sana, why don't you go first? I think Sana had to drop out. Zara, tell us for your perspective of Ashoka and extracurricular activities there.
I think, like Flame, Ashoka has a club for every possible thing, every possible interest that a person can have. There will be a club for it. Even with sports, there's a very competitive. They have a complete field dedicated just for frisbee. They installed a pickleball court also recently. So I've also dabbled into trying out so many different sports, and you can play it at any point. There's no booking, so you can just go and play at any hour. And I think that was really, really good. Uh, yeah.
Right. Wonderful. Sana, we were talking about the cultural environment with extracurricular activities and so on in the university campus. So, what has been your experience in Ashoka like?
I would say it's been great because I have had chance to explore different environmental related clubs or sustainability related clubs. Specifically, I'm not much of a sports person. I like to watch them, but not play specifically.
But
I
there would
do
be
play.
other things, right? Theater,
Yeah.
music, and
So theater music, I did try out, and but I was more inclined towards spending more time towards the environmental clubs. So I went for the Sustainable Development Goals Club and working with the Environment Ministry. I explored such options because there I did a lot of work with the events team, the marketing team. So I got into those kind of things because I myself have a YouTube channel. So I am great with that you know, editing aspect. So I really like to explore that. So that is where my interest lied, and I think that way I incline towards that. But yes, definitely, while like playing badminton at night is definitely one of the best things I did in Ashoka. So
Great to
that
hear.
was a fun thing to do.
Sounds like all of you are having a lot of fun. Tamanna, we know very little about Ahmedabad University and the culture there because, like I said, it's an emerging university coming up very fast on the scene. So tell us what that extracurricular and cultural environment is like.
Right. So it's just like both Flame and Ashoka. There's a club for everything you can imagine. And in fact, some of my friends were thinking of starting a new club, but we were thinking that everything is already there for all sports and all extracurriculars as well. And especially the three clubs, dance, music, and theater, they're very, very active. So whenever any event is coming up, they would be practicing till 12 a.m. at night. Um, and the events turn out really well. And all the clubs are very hands-on. Every Wednesday, there's at least five, six clubs doing some or the other activity, which would have lots of people doing participating in them. And yeah, I think that's about it. But
It sounds like
sports sports is
yeah.
compulsory course from the last year.
Oh,
Sports has become something that every first year student has to go through. So for the entire year, both the semesters, they prefer that in both the semester take two different sports each, but it's not necessary. But it has very strict attendance also, and everyone has to do one or the other sports. And I think that's a good addition to add to the college.
that sounds unusual and it sounds like a very, very good thing, I'm sure, for all the students who are joining. Okay, see, I want to ask you all this thing about liberal arts universities. Now, a lot of students, when they're thinking of liberal arts, they have either one of two reactions. They think, oh, this is wonderful, I can explore anything I like and then choose anything I like. And sometimes I think there must be limitations to that because you've got to take certain courses to get your major. So it's not really like you have a lot of time to explore everything you like and you have to be a little bit focused, right? On the other hand, there are students who don't like this idea of doing foundation courses like mind and behavior and grade books. They say, oh, I want to study biology or I want to study computer science or history or whatever there is. And why should I study quantitative methods, for example, right? So each of these universities has these foundation courses that everyone's supposed to study. So how's that experience been for you, that liberal arts foundation courses, choosing your major, that experience? Zara, why don't you go first?
So I think it has its pros and cons. For me, I was a little undecided on what I wanted to major in. I was deciding between psychology and econ. So foundation courses were great for me, while some of them, yes, maybe something that I'm not interested in at all. There are in Ashoka, there are 9 foundation courses that you have to do over the course of 4 years. In your first semester, you're going to do 4 of them that you can, like, you put your preference list and you get allotted those 4 courses. So while a lot of them, if they're related to your major, they can help you see how you're going to be studying that post doing the foundation courses. But there's also a bunch of courses that you may not be interested in initially, but you might develop an interest in. So I think if you're undecided, it's a great way to actually explore all your possible options. And if there always will be something that you're not interested in, but you're just going to have to do it. But I think it is a good thing to have to keep your options open and you learn a lot.
Okay, so let me understand this thing. You said there are 9 courses and you took 4 in the first semester and you have to take them over 4 years, right?
Yes.
So you can so it might happen that in your third year you are taking one of those foundation courses and
Yeah.
you are sitting in a class with a first year student.
Yeah.
Oh, so
So
you can actually take classes with people across years.
yeah, so for me at least, if so a lot of people from what I know, if somebody plans on doing a minor, to be able to do a minor, you need to do 6 courses in that particular subject. And obviously to do any subject, you have to do the introductory courses before you can get to the core courses. So in my, I took intro to econ this sem, maths for econ, which were both required for economics, and I took intro to psychology, which was required for psychology, and I also took entrepreneurship courses, which is something I did not plan on doing at all. So that was a completely new change, but I'm doing a minor in it now. Yeah, so in my intro to psychology class, it was a huge class of 100 people, and there were people from their first year, second year, third year, all who may. From first year, you're doing it because you want to maybe do a major in it. So you have to do the intro course to be able to do a major in it and be able to move on to doing the core courses. But for a lot of people, maybe in your second, third year, you decide you maybe want to dabble into doing a minor in a particular subject. So you take the introductory course. So there's everybody from all ages. And it really helps, I think, because if you're sitting with a person, maybe a third year, and they've done a completely different subject, you can get an overview on that subject, even though you may not completely be interested in it, but you do get an overview of everything. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, that actually sounds an unusual thing. Like we never had that experience in college of taking classes with people across years, right? So, Sana, how has your experience of the foundation year been in this liberal arts environment?
So I would say it was surprising that, you have to do it over the 4 years and you'll meet different people. But I think at the same time, it was very interesting because when I was doing specifically the EBS Environmental Studies Foundation course, I had people from third year also in my class. Many people from third year because they tend to leave that subject for the last. But I got to know, like, from the different perspectives from different uh, areas, subject areas, and it was so opening because when I want to, like, if I want to pursue, like, I am going to pursue a environmental studies minor, and like that I know, and but that would also help me to choose which area I'm specifically interested in and what would I like to be cross-listed with. Do I want to go into more anthro side of the uh, environment or more science side of the environment? And that being said, like, there are some courses which I was not completely interested in, such as Indian civilization. I was like, I do not want to study history. I do not like that at all. But there are some professors which provide you with a different perspective on it. So in my Indian civilization course, I did not read about the Mughal era or the old civilization era courses, but we studied Indian partition. That was such a good eye opener that, just because it says Indian civilization does not mean I have to study a totally different history course that I was hoping for. So that's kind of a new thing that you get your mind over. Or, history can also be recent in this kind of
Right.
thing.
It can
So,
be interpreted, right? I guess a lot of the
yes.
way we study history in Indian curricula is that it has to be learned or, learned by rote. Here
Yeah.
it's more like discussion and interpretation, I guess, right?
So this the course I actually took was very interesting, but it had like I got through it, so it was like it was fun, but I don't think it says me, oh, now I want to study history, but
Yeah. But you
it was
didn't
like,
hate it, is what I'm hearing, right?
yes.
Yeah, okay, wonderful. That's very, very good to hear, Sana, from you. Hunar, tell us about, does Flame also have foundational courses like this?
Yeah, so Flame does not have 9. They have 7 foundation courses, and so the first year is divided into 4 terms, and every term you have to take either 2 or 1 foundation course. I mean, so the first and third term you have to take 2 foundation courses, and the second and fourth term it's 1 foundation course, and there's a foundation course called financial literacy, which goes on for term 3 as well as term 4. I mean, it's a little bit complicated, but like each term will have a total of 5 courses.
Right, okay. And you quite enjoyed taking these courses that are diverse. Are students moaning and groaning about it, or does everyone really enjoy that stuff?
So most of the courses, I mean, are really boring to be honest. But I mean, they're helpful for you. So I found it quite boring to be honest, but they're helpful. But the other courses which you can choose actually, they were quite interesting. So there they've divided it. They've divided the courses into universes, and you can choose from each universe. So there's a universe of languages, so you have to choose two languages from there. There's a universe of sciences where you can choose two courses from there. There's a universe of arts where you can choose two courses from there. So you can mix and match and make your own combination, but you have to take two courses from each universe. That's the requirement. So you end up getting some courses that you won't like, but also some courses that you'll really like. So for me, like I took one course, AI for beginners. Quite like that. And I also took a course on French, and I also took a course on art and photography. So it's quite diverse, the courses. And so the first year is just that, five courses in each term. And in the third and fourth term, there's a sixth course, which is financial literacy. And the seven courses, foundation courses, are compulsory for everyone.
Right. And
And
you're
then
one of those who says that some of them can be boring, save me from it, but some of them can be valuable.
yes, but actually it depends from person to person. So I mean, I'm a kind of a math guy, a quant guy, so I don't like theory that much. But a person who would like, say, let's say, history, geography, theory stuff, they would quite like those courses.
But there would be quant courses that they would have to take, which they may moan and groan about.
So quant courses, the foundation one, there's only one, the critical reasoning. Apart from that, there's no quant course as such.
Right. Okay. So things seem to be a little bit easier for them, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Good to hear. And Tamanna, tell us about Ahmedabad University's first year. Is it the same sort of thing, foundation courses, and then you choose your thing?
It's a little different, which is one of the reasons I had chosen this university as well. So there's this thing called FTP, which is foundation program. So there's four of them each year. So they basically there's first one is FIS, which is something that started this year itself, which is all about writing, and you get to choose what you like. You get to choose a topic, and you basically have to learn to write essays about it, very long essays. The final one is 20 pages long.
Oh my God.
Then, yeah, that's after one whole month. All of them are 1 month long. Then there's other than that, there's two more courses that you have to take in the beginning. There's no choice. The first 3 months for the university will be this along with FTP. So that is a COM and CST. COM is basically again about essays and enhancing your English skills, which you get a level based on a test you have to give in the beginning during the orientation days. Then there's CST, which is about data science, and you learn about Python and stats and all of that. So these are both necessary. Then
So
on
data
top of
science
that,
and
there's
Python
also
and stats is one of the required
yeah.
courses, is it?
Again, there are levels at this. It depends what course you want to do and what if you've had any prior experience in it. So there's a CST 100, 101, and 102, and you get one according to what I said earlier. Then on top of that, there are 6 more domains that you have to cover over the course of 4 years. You can choose when you want to do which one. And there are many courses within each. So you have to do a total of 9 courses and 6 domains. So one from each, and then the other 3 you can choose from the other domains which ones you want to do. And this can also be used as a minor. Yeah, there are like many things that you get to choose from, but they're all within GERs.
Right. So Tamanna, I wanted to ask you particularly, you were choosing between many other options in India as well. Had you not also gotten through Kriya and Flame?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and then you chose Ahmedabad University. So you must have done some thinking analysis to figure it out. So share with us, how do you make that choice and what really went in Ahmedabad's favor?
Mostly it was because of the areas. So for Kriya specifically, it's very in the outskirts, and I'm someone who likes to go out on the weekends or not stay confined to the campus area. But for Kriya, it's very in the outskirts, and to go out, you probably have to go to Chennai, which is a bit far, and
Yeah.
lots of hassle goes into that. So Kriya was because of the area. Then same with Flame. I think it's about 30 minutes from the main area. But more than that, it's about Ahmedabad University. I did research on the professors, and specifically for my course, I really like the professors there. And all of these foundation programs, I think, is very unique in this university. So I wanted to learn about that. And again, the city.
Great, wonderful. All right, see, now I'm going to ask you a little bit about the cultural environment in these universities, in the sense that very frankly, Ashoka University, for a while, people used to say that all the elite Delhi schools kids are studying in Ashoka University, but now the university is trying to make it more diverse. So tell me a little bit about what that student body is like. Is it diverse? Is it very much one type of thing? Are there like groups of people? Hunar, maybe we can start with you first.
Yeah, sure. So in Flame, there's actually a really diverse crowd. So you'll find all kinds of people. You'll find people like elite people who are like the spoiled rich brats and all. And you'll even find good, friendly people. So it's all about choosing your crowd properly. But to be honest, you'll find every kind of person there.
North India, South India, Maharashtra, are there international students? How is it?
So there are French students, some French students as well, French kids. There are some students from Africa as well, and North and South. I mean, there are more people from Mumbai and Delhi, Mumbai, Delhi, Gurgaon, the main four metropolitan cities. But other than that, there are also people from Gujarat, Hyderabad, other places, Ranchi. So most of the people are from metropolitan cities, but you'll also find quite a lot of people who are from other cities as well. But it's quite diverse, the crowd.
And that must be fun and different for you to interact with people who are different from the typical city crowd, right?
Yes, I agree. Definitely, it's fun.
Great, great. Zara, tell me about Ashoka. Since I said this very provocative statement about what Ashoka is, full of elite Delhi school kids, you tell me what it's really like.
No, I get what you mean. And while there obviously always will be somebody in from those elite Delhi schools who will consider themselves a little bit above everybody, there's also there's people from all over the country, like from South India, Bombay, the Northeast, and obviously Delhi, Gurgaon. There's people genuinely from everywhere, and from at least in my experience, I have generally seen everybody try to be friends with everybody. Like there's no that, oh, because I'm from here, I feel like I shouldn't be talking to these people, which I
There's
thought was really
cliques,
good.
there aren't cliques being made like that.
No, I feel like because there's so many people, you also don't have just one friend group. You also have so many people, either from your classes, from the clubs that you're in, from the sport that you play. You meet so many new people, so you don't want to just constrict yourself to having like one friend group. And also, I think Ashoka celebrates every possible festival. They'll celebrate Eid, Onam, everything with like how you in North India, how we would celebrate Diwali, they would celebrate every festival like that. So I think every culture also gets like that homely feeling over there, which I thought was really, really lovely.
Right. Sana, so your perspective, and I'll ask you a particular question, which is that, Ashoka prides itself on being a very inclusive university. So, how do you think that how would you rate them in terms of, giving admission to students with special needs, giving supports to students who may require a very customized kind of a support for academics?
I think Ashoka has been really helpful in terms of that because, you know, I I did feel very welcome. Like, uh, coming to university, I was very scared, how I fit in with the crowd, and it was not that necessary that bad. Like, it was not bad at all, actually, because I I'm I made friends, and it was very, and the Office of Learning Support is very helpful. That I think they're one of the best that I have been with, because in any and every difficulty, I would reach out to them and they would coordinate, and I would those kind of support I would get in school. I thought that it was similar to that specific uh, needs for me, especially with room or academics or anything that
So any
I
support
want.
you need, the OLS is there to help you.
Yes, definitely.
Wonderful. I'm so
It's
glad
one
to
of
hear your experience is so smooth.
it was very good actually. It was very smooth, uh, specifically because I was a bit unwell for a while and I needed support. So OLS helped me with that, and it was it was a smooth transition, like smooth year. Even though I had some difficulties, the OLS, the whole 2, 3 people from the team reached out and gave the support wherever they can. Even the professors were very cooperative in that manner. So I think from that aspect, Ashoka is great. It
Wonderful.
has
That's
been
actually
great.
very, very encouraging to hear. And, I'm sure we'll reach out to many more students who are looking for that sort of support. And, that these words will really be very empowering for them.
Yeah.
Tamanna, tell us about the, kinds of students you find at Ahmedabad University. What's that group like? Is it, students more of one type? Are students in different groups? How does that environment work?
Right, so I think the university really celebrates diversity. You'll find people from all over the country. In the beginning, I did feel there are more Gujaratis there, but then now I'm realizing the reason because in the beginning we have this system called the Mitra system, wherein each 10 to 12 students will get one to two seniors who will be called your Mitras, and for the orientation week, they'll guide you, and for the whole year, actually, they'll be there to guide you. If you ever need them, you can just call them. So most of them are Gujaratis, but now I understand why that is because they have rigorous training, which happens from the beginning of July, like it's starting from this week. And obviously, the people who are localites, they would more be willing to go there in the beginning and sacrifice a summer break for it. So that's when the beginning you'd feel like there are more Gujaratis, but otherwise there's all kinds of people there all around the world, all around the country. There are even people from Dubai. I haven't seen many international students there, but there are quite a few in my batch who are from Dubai. And
Right. And
I
then I'm
feel
sure
like
the
in
Garba
the
season
hostel,
comes in, and then being in
yeah,
Gujarat
yeah,
is absolutely beautiful, right?
yeah, it's
There's always
huge there.
Garba
Garba is
parties.
huge there.
Yeah.
Yeah. And otherwise, I feel like in the hostel there's a lot more diverse crowd, and that's why you make your the friends who get more closer to you. And otherwise, even in the clubs, there's three office bearers every for each club, and they have strict rules for that. That not everyone can be from the same region, and they have to be from different areas. Even for gender, there must be both the genders in the group of club leaders.
They're careful
So
to
there's
create
lots
that
of like
diversity.
the diversity is taken care of.
Wonderful. All right. So, really, this has given me a lot of insights into each of these universities. So, I'm sure the students and parents who are listening in and who we'll share this with will also get a lot of that. So, I have one last, or rather, a last two questions which I'd like you to answer both of them together. And I'll ask each one of you to tell us. And Tamanna, maybe you can start first. Which is about how rigorous or difficult is the academic pressure over there. That's one. And two, what can a student do to get into this university? A student in 11th or 12th.
Right. So the academic pressure there will be a lot of assignments for each course you do, especially group projects. There is a group project for every single course. Some have more, some have less. But the deadlines are flexible and there are strict deadlines, but you get a decent amount of time to finish the assignments. So at any given point in time when you come and ask me in college if you have any assignments, I will have at least two. But then I will also say that I have a week to do it. And so I always had the question,
And
the
the other,
application process. I
how does
think
one get there? Yeah.
yeah, so I think essays are a very important part for the application because even in the college there are lots of courses they do about essays which are GERs that you have to do them. So they do pay a lot of attention to what essays you write.
Right. Thank you
And
so much,
that's
Tamanna.
like a major part.
So, thanks a lot for that, Tamanna. I've actually got a very good feeling about Ahmedabad University, having heard about your experience there. Zara, tell us about Ashoka in terms of the academic pressure, also your advice for students aiming for Ashoka.
So one thing that I will be very, very honest about is that Ashoka is very academically rigorous. The classes are intense. There's a lot of dense readings. You're always pushed to think critically, write clearly, and participate a lot. But what makes it different from just being like difficult academically is that it's rigorous, but in a very meaningful way, in a very different way from how it was in high school, because you're not just memorizing for the sake of getting marks, you're actually asked to question everything, build proper arguments, and also make connections between different fields. So I like, for example, in my intro to psychology class, our midterm paper was to tell ChatGPT to write an essay, to write a literature review about any hypothesis that we want to. And what we had to do was find the gaps in those um, literature reviews that ChatGPT had given us. So instead of just, how it would be really easy for me to just ChatGPT my essay and give it, but the way they structured it was that I would have to actually go through all the papers, actually apply my mind to find the gaps that ChatGPT had given me, which I thought was really, really interesting. And all the professors expect you to come very prepared for class, participate, turn in very original work. There's always going to be work before and after the classes. Nothing is spoon fed, but I think it's really good because it actually does prepare you. And after a while, I wouldn't say you get used to it, but in a way, you do get used to
Learn
it.
to live with it. You learn to balance it in
Yeah.
your life, etc. And
And
any advice you have for a student applying to Ashoka?
I think Ashoka really values essays, both application and once you're in college. So, practicing how to build arguments, reflecting on your experiences, and writing clearly is very, very important. And I feel like one thing that I was really stressed about was getting like really good marks in my 11th. And while marks are 100% very, very important, they aren't everything. I think the Ashoka application process is very holistic in that way. For me, while my marks were good, but I think a lot of things that actually did help me, I had a lot of football on my
Yes,
application. I played nationals, so I think that was really helpful. I had internships that I'd done, I had volunteer work. So I think they really do look at, while your essay is a big chunk of it, they also look a lot at how you are as a person as a whole instead of just your academics. While that is still very important, I will always stress that it is very, very important. And I
like the
think being
essay.
able to communicate is very important because your interview is very, very critical. And an interview is also very different for different people. Like for me, my interview was very chill. They asked me very simple, sweet questions, but a lot of my friends got like grilled in the
Grilled quite
interviews.
badly in the interview. Yeah, I
Yeah.
remember in your year they started doing these tough interviews with some people, and luckily you were not on the wrong side of that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but to prepare for interviews, that's the point you're making.
Definitely have like keep generic interview questions in mind, prepare for them, know what you have to say. Um, yeah, I think it's always good to have that clarity. And also, I think it's completely okay to not know exactly what you want to major in. At least if you're wanting to come to Ashoka, you are going to have the opportunity to explore every single thing, whether that be by doing the courses or by talking to people. And Ashoka generally encourages you to explore it first. So I don't think there's any pressure to box yourself in too early on.
Got that. Thank you so much, Zara. Sana, your advice for students applying to Ashoka?
I think I would say come with an open mind. Like you may say, oh, I want to do this specific major, but over the course, you might change it, and that is not a bad option. Like you don't need to feel bad about it because there is so much to explore. And I would say when you're uh, applying, just have an holistic application. As Zara said, grades aren't everything. They're important, but they're not everything. And I would say have a story. Like, everything you do needs to make sense to who you are. It's just not like, oh, you did this for the sake of doing it, because ultimately the admission office knows. So
They've seen
have
so
a
many
story. Like,
applications. Yeah.
So have a story, like if, even if you started late, but you show your passion, it will be okay. And you know, leadership roles, internships, and not do not do everything, because there are too many things one can do, but keep your one track in mind and do it nicely, good, and do it with your wholeheartedly. So I think that is most important. And for interview, just you know, be prepared with the questions. Like I was specifically not grilled either, so I was very stressed for the fact that there will be two, three people grilling me, but
Yeah, yeah.
thankfully I had just one person to do my interview, and she was very nice and you know just asked me gentle questions. But specifically for, I think for Indian universities, also keep that in mind. They know that you have applied to other countries, and you are, and they know that you might want, uh, you might be enticed to go to another like in another country. So have your thought very clear. Why do you want to go to an Indian university? Because I think, because everyone knows that, oh, you have applied to four other countries, or you have applied to two to three other countries, and
Right.
you have a thing in mind, but have your thing very clear that
Yeah, the why
yes, I want to.
Ashoka. Yeah, the why Ashoka.
Why
Why
Ashoka?
not someone that
Why, or why
matters.
India also, like it
Right.
specifically matters. So
Absolutely.
I
Yes.
think those questions to prepare is important.
Thank you, Sana. That was a very, very good insight. Thank you so much. Hunar, finally, to you, tell us about the academic pressure and tell us what does it take to get into Flame.
Yeah, so starting with the academic part, so the academic rigor at Flame is actually, it's quite manageable to be honest. So not like you won't need to study at all, but if you cope up, like you study every day, like you maintain a good studying habit, I feel that's sufficient enough. It actually also quite depends on your courses that you take. So if you take higher rigor courses such as computer science, Python programming, and all, it increases the workload for you. But if you can take lighter courses and still cope up, that's more than enough. And also the grading is quite strict. So there's there's a this thing called weighted averages that they take, and based on those they pass out the grades to everybody. So you, even if you get above a 90 95, you can still get a B plus based on the class. So it's a little strict, I would say, but it's fair to be honest. Other than that, the academic is, yeah, so I think it's sufficient. You can cope up with it if you study well, and it's easy to manage with sports as well. So yeah, and about how to get into Flame, I would say you need to have a well-rounded profile. So there should be something that you really like and you pursue properly, like you have full commitment to that. So, and there should be one unique thing I feel in your profile. So for me, like it was tennis. I played tennis nationally, and I focused a lot on that, and I'm basically made my application around that. And I didn't give the Flame entrance test. I feel that's also an important part because I gave the SATs. And so the Flame entrance test also tells a lot about the person. So that I think they consider that as well. But the most important thing is the interview, I feel. 50% of it, I think, is the interview only. Because I've seen
Yes,
quite a
I've known
few.
students to be rejected after the interview. Yeah, so I have.
Correct. I've seen many of my friends getting rejected after the interview is done. Most of them get selected for the interview, but then they fumble the interview and then they won't get
Preparing
selected.
for that interview is the most important thing.
Yes, preparing for that interview, speaking confidently and all, everything is important.
Got that, Hunar. Thank you so much. And thanks to all of you for joining us and giving us this view of Indian universities. I think Nidhi is asking you, Hunar, that do they have adequate professors to meet the students' need? How are campus placements? Do you have a view on either of these?
Yes, so I think professors to students ratio is 20:1. So they have quite
That's a
a
very good one.
yes. So there are professors for each subject there are I think 3 to 4 different professors, and you can choose your professors as well. So if you take a course in Python, let's say there are 4 professors teaching Python. You can research on them on the website, find out with your friends, your peers who's a good professor. Then you can choose which professor you want, and the professors all the professors are highly qualified. They're from IIMs, IITs. They're really nice.
Right. Even I've heard the best things about that. So that answers that. And thank you so much, Hunar. Thank you, Zara. Thank you, Sana. And thank you, Tamanna. Thank you for giving your insights on Indian universities. I really feel that I know a lot about them now, a lot more than I thought. I thought I know a lot, and now I've got so many new insights. So thanks a lot. All right.
Thank you so
Now
much.
we
Thank you for
move
having
to,
us.
yeah, thanks, guys. Thank you for
Thanks.
joining.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so now we move to our last segment, which is focused on the US and Canada, and we have many interesting speakers from some of the universities that all of you would have heard of and would really be aiming for. So we have Sara Munshi joining us from New Chicago. We have Anish Machiraju joining us from Northeastern University. We have Vivek Patel joining us from Penn State University, and Abhinav Dangwal from Brown University. And from the University of Toronto, we have Tara Billa joining us. So we have a very, very diverse and in-depth view. I'll ask you guys to, if you all have your videos on, if you all please turn your videos on. Vivek, I can see you. Can I see
Hi,
you?
Richa.
Anish, Abhinav, yeah, there you guys are all there. Hi, Vivek. Hi, Abhinav. Hi, Tara, Sara. Okay, right. You're all here. So I'll ask you to just go around and introduce yourself briefly. Vivek, why don't we start with you?
Yeah, sure. Hi guys, I'm Vivek. I did my high school in Dubai and then I came here for my undergraduate studies at Penn State, although I might transfer to UC Berkeley next semester.
Oh, all the best for that.
Yeah, I just came back from San Francisco 2 days ago, so that was really good. But yeah, I'm pursuing computer science and economics at Penn State for now, and that's about it.
Right, wonderful. That's a target course for many, many students applying for computer science, and I believe it's a wonderful course. So we'll hear more about it in a bit. Tara, why don't you introduce yourself? Tara's from University of Toronto. Please go ahead.
So hi, I'm Tara. I live in New Jersey right now in the US. So that's where I went to high school before going to University of Toronto, like Richa said. I'm doing cognitive science there, and I'm minoring in statistics and music as well. So yeah.
Wow, that sounds like an amazing course, and you know, cognitive science itself is so popular. So we'll hear a lot more about it from you in a little bit. Anish, let's hear from you.
Hi everyone, I'm Anish. I went to Scottish Eye, which is in Gurgaon. Now I'm going to be a third year computer science major with a minor in robotics at Northeastern, and I'm also the vice president of a F1 club that me and my friends started.
Oh, all right. That's very, very good. Wonderful. I'd like to hear. I know you were doing so much in F1, even in 11th and 12th. Yeah, right. Okay. Fantastic. Abhinav, let's hear from you.
Hi guys, so I'm Abhinav. I live in Mumbai. I went to school here all my life, and then I got into Brown, and I've just finished my first year at Brown, and I'm back for the summer, and I'm majoring in applied math and also majoring in history at Brown.
Yeah, that's the beauty of Brown, and I think they really encourage interdisciplinary stuff. And I'd like to really understand more about it as we go along. And Sarah, do introduce yourself.
I'm Sara. I went to school in London, an international school, and I just finished my first year at the University of Chicago. And I'm majoring in law letters, which is like the pre-law course, and I'm doing a minor in classics and in economics.
All right? So that's quite a diverse set of courses that you guys are doing and very different trajectories that you're all on. But I first want to ask you all a question that is on everybody's mind about studying in the US now. So you might as well just share your experience of it, which is this whole thing that how friendly is it for international students? What is this changing environment like? Is it really impacting you all or not? So just your top of mind thoughts on what is going on over there. And Tara, you could also tell us from your experience of other students in the US. I'm sure you're not experiencing that in Canada, but from other students in the US. So, Sarah, why don't we start with you first? How is this changing political environment in the US impacting you all, if at all?
I would say directly it's not impacting us because like Illinois is quite a blue state and we're not like unlike for example Harvard and Columbia who have a lot of funding from the government, so they're like very directly impacted. We're kind of independent. So like I would say directly we have no impact. Obviously people are very involved in politics because they like to know what's going on in the world. So from that point of view, like people do talk about it. Um like especially after the elections people were like really upset and like that was like a lot of people didn't come to class, but I think honestly on a personal level and like a direct level there's no impact from what's going on. There's obviously awareness and like it's good to be very aware about what's happening, but in terms of our operations and like daily life it's not taking a toll, I would say.
Thanks, Sarah. That's good to hear. Abhinav, tell us about your experience at Brown and how is this being an international student in the US playing out for you right now and for your friends?
So, well, Brown has always been a very vocal school, and a very very against any sort of injustices. But we also got about $500 million of federal funding pulled by the government. It got revoked. So Brown is actually seeing a lot of direct consequences right now as well. And we do have a very diverse and very large international student community. So it's really not too scary, but there is just a general sort of atmosphere of anxiety that is settling over, especially because we're close to the Rhode Island School of Design, and ICE actually deported just one person from that university. So there was kind of a period where we were slightly on edge, but it's really not that big of a cause of concern when you're on campus because the university's priority is keeping all its students, safe and secure and just focused on studying. So Brown, as well as a lot of other universities that a lot of my friends go to, have taken like precautions for their students and have, made sure to keep all their students informed and all their like premises just safe and secure. So there's really not a lot to directly worry about that is impacting us right now. It's just a general sense of worry, but everything is good.
Good, good. Good to hear that. Anish, how has your experience been?
Being in Boston, like the things might heat up sometimes as like for us, there was a protest that happened like a year back where like few people got arrested and in Harvard, like they are stopping the funding and things going on. But I personally feel like in day-to-day life, nothing ever is going to affect you right now, unless and until like you have some loopholes in your paperwork or something. And like if you are 100% legit, then you shouldn't worry about anything.
Then it should be good. So just try not to write anti-Trump things on social media and you should be good. Okay, all right. Vivek, tell us your view about this.
I feel like generally Penn State, like Pennsylvania as a state in its whole, is usually a very swing state. Historically it's been either red or either brown. Sorry, red. But I feel like Anish said that as long as your paperwork is solid, you should not have any issues. Although we had a couple students deported from Penn State here, but as the district attorney said in a public statement that all of them had like either ticket violations or shoplifting violations, which was uh I wouldn't say it was unfair because it is still technically a crime, even though a relatively minor one. But there was a particular reason why they were deported and not just out of the blue. So I think if you know about your personal status, if you know you are good, if you're clean, then I don't think you have anything to worry about. And we don't have an atmosphere of protests or any sorts of disruptive activities, at least on campus.
Not a very political campus in that sense.
Yeah, so it's even though people have their own beliefs and they are allowed to have that, of course, but I haven't seen any protests or, public gatherings about political scenarios. It could be about like a particular policy change that a university has implemented, but nothing about politics. But when I was in SF for the past couple of months, it was really bad because I was there when the Civic Center riots were happening. They set cars on fire. It was very different from Penn State.
But overall, the message I'm getting from you is don't shoplift, have your papers in place. All should be good.
Yes, don't shoplift. Don't. I even know people who got deported because of a speeding ticket. So that's also a very grave concern. But
So just
as
stay
long as
within the
you're,
lines.
yeah, just stay within your limits. Yeah, don't break any laws, even if they seem relatively minor.
Right. Thank you, Vivek. That's actually very, very practical and good advice. Tara, do
Yeah, of
you have a
course.
view on this?
So I live in New Jersey, which I'm very lucky is a blue state and always has been, and I think always will be. But I do live also right next to New York City. And that is, such a big protest hub everywhere. And a huge, I guess, area where all the ICE raids are coming and people are coming, even taking kids out of high school, elementary school, middle school. Like it's all ages at this point. I think, yeah, the big thing is as long as you are aware of it, it's you can obviously do your best. Obviously, don't shoplift, don't get speeding tickets. But the thing is, the problem is it's also civil offenses which are being caught on now. Like some of these, there's only so much you really can do. Not in a scary sense, obviously, but honestly, all it is just being aware of your surroundings, know what's going on. Even if you don't know a law exists, you can still get charged for something. And I know I have friends who I live right next to Princeton University, and they have also, like Brown as well, have gotten rid of a lot of funding, or the federal government has revoked quite a lot of it. So I know some international students there are a bit worried, but for the most part, I think all of them are fine because they get so much money regardless, and there's so much support in these universities that being a student here or anywhere in North America, really, there's always someone else to back you up, so.
Right, I get that. No, what I'm also picking up from all of you is this whole thing about civic offenses. And India is not very strict about things like this, speeding, even breaking a red light. These are things that it takes time when you go to an international environment for an Indian to understand that, oh, guys, this is actually a big deal. Some things are just not such a big deal in India. So I guess orienting yourself like that so that you don't inadvertently, just very innocently fall on the wrong side of the whole equation is something that will help you stay within the lines and finish your degree in the way that you plan to do. All right, so I want you all to give me a sort of a view of your university and what they value in students, both from the perspective of actually studying there and from the perspective of applying. So Tara, let me start with you first. And I'm going to first say University of Tears. Right, because
Yeah.
UofT is called University of Tears by so many people that they really push you. It's very academically rigorous. So tell us about your academic experience and then tell us what does it take to get in here.
So I think the saying has a little bit of truth to it, specifically just because I just finished my first year. So it's the first year, as for most universities, is a year that they are trying to weed people out. They're giving you all the sort of gen ed courses, general education courses. These are prerequisites for lots of other courses that you will eventually take. So, and these class sizes are up to, I had a lecture, my introductory psych course was 1,500 people just within my lecture. There's even more people taking the course. And it's a big school. So it can be difficult or to feel like you stand out or you're the only one because there's just so many people surrounding you. And the workload is hard. I don't want to sugarcoat it, it's definitely is difficult, especially first year because you're managing it. I come from a very, Desi school district in central New Jersey where everybody is Desi. So even for me, with all this pressure that anyway had surrounded me, going to U of T, it's the pressure doesn't come from the people, it comes from the professors. But it definitely is manageable. I have friends who are doing well. Obviously, if you take STEM classes, you're an engineer, it's harder. But if you definitely can make it work. You just don't have to, you can't be disheartened once it's tough at the start, but I've been told it gets easier. So just holding
You'll
on to
get
that, I
into the
guess.
rhythm of it, and then you'll figure it
Yeah.
out. Okay, all right.
And once classes become more selective, like you do more what of you want to do. Like I don't, some of the courses I took, I just have to take because I need it for something else. So once your courses become more specialized, it's nicer.
Right, that's on the academic side. And what else would you like if you were to recommend University of Toronto to somebody? What would you say is so great about that experience?
I think the city is really nice. I really enjoy being here. I mean, I do live right next to New York City, but Toronto just has a different vibe to it that is very, very nice. There's tons of different types of people. I mean, I know friends, my entire friend group actually is from all over the world. Like, I have friends from the Middle East, there's people from South America, there's literally anybody and everybody, which is nice because I wouldn't really get that at home. Um, because the class size and how many people there are, there's a lot of stuff to do. We have even like a hide and seek club. Like there's just so many random things that the school has, which is really nice. So it's just a nice aside from the academics, everything else is really nice. It's like you have a lot of flexibility too.
Right, and the academics, I'm sure, are really nice too, except that they're tough. Right.
Yeah, they're just tough. That's all.
All right. Thank you so much, Tara. Right. Okay, Abhinav, tell us about Brown University, being in this beautiful Rhode Island, but, removed from a lot of the mainland America. And, in that sense, it's a little quiet world of its own. How do you experience that? And also about the open curriculum, because, from a distance, it seems like, it's so cool that Brown has this open curriculum. I can take this if I like and that, and I can choose classes, but it must also be, high pressure and rigorous being an Ivy League. So give us your view of Brown University.
So, I guess I'll start with the open curriculum. For context, it's essentially there's no gen ed, so there's no general education classes or requirements. You basically make your entire college journey by yourself, and obviously you have help from advisors, etc. But you basically place each brick in like the journey towards getting your diploma by picking all of your own classes and deciding what you want to do, what track you want to go down, what way you want to do what. And there's a lot of flexibility. It's extremely easy to switch between majors up until about the third year. You can do two majors like I am doing and still have room for quite a few electives. And the concept of minors doesn't really exist at Brown because it's so easy to just do them. You can just take 4 or 5 or 6 classes in anthropology and like you could just have an anthropology minor just that easily. I've known people who have like minors done like maybe 2 or 3 just at a time along with their main degree. So it's pretty easy and it actually gives you a lot of flexibility in doing exactly what you want to do academically. And for me, that's how it's permitting me to do applied math and history as well. And yeah, so as you were saying, Trisha, like being separated kind of from the US, it's not really that separate. It's like an hour from Boston, 3 hours from New York. But it's pretty great. It's a very peaceful life. And when it's not freezing cold, which is about 5 months out of 8 while you're there, it's wonderful weather. And it's generally when the sun comes out in the spring semester, it's really just such a happy atmosphere. Everyone is really just ecstatic on campus. And even like the advent of exams isn't enough to ruin that happiness. Like, everyone is still so joyous and so peaceful, and it's really great. Academic wise, just because you can do your own thing does not mean it's kind of not rigorous. My dad had that concern when we were applying. It's actually extremely rigorous. Even though it's all like you think it's all fun and games and you can chill on the grass and listen to music and read a nice book, there comes the times where you have to just put your head down and hit the library and just be there and grind out like homework piece sets for math classes if you're a STEM major, or history you got to read like 2 books a week on average. It's quite a lot of work as well, so don't take that lightly. And with that, you also get to follow your interests quite a bit. Like even though I'm doing history, I took a classics course last semester, and I'm gonna try and do a sculpture course next semester. So there's a lot of things you can just do, and it gives you a lot of flexibility in that sense too. So yeah.
Wonderful. So this is very good to hear and understand for me. I remember when I had visited Brown, then that was exactly what you're describing. People's lying around on the grass and reading books and having fun. And I was like, oh, open curriculum, open school. It's so wonderful. But yes, I'm seeing that there is the balance on the other side. And you seem to be quite enjoying that balance, Abhinav. Right. So, Sara, you tell me, doesn't U Chicago have this line where fun comes to die, where people describe U Chicago? I mean, how tough is it really? How academically rigorous? Why do they say that?
Yeah, that's like our slogan, where fun goes to die, because it's very academically rigorous. Like, I'm gonna be honest, because we also have the quarter system, which is each quarter is around 9 weeks. So all the content, which would usually be in a semester, so over like 5 or 6 months, is like squeezed into 10 weeks essentially. So it's like every other week feels like finals week, because in like week 3 or 4, you already start midterms, and then week 8 or 9, you have your finals. So it's like you're always studying for something. But I would definitely say, like, it sounds really bad on face value, and like you do have to study a lot, but I think like it's very manageable in the sense that if you just do your work on time, it won't build up. You have to like stay on top of your classes, because like, for example, if you miss a few classes, like it's very hard to catch up just because it's so fast paced. Um, but like, honestly, this is like a really unpopular opinion among me and my friends, but I actually really enjoy finals week, because like it's really bad. Like, you basically live in the library until 3 or 4 a.m. But I really like it because everyone's kind of in the same boat. So you're all kind of working together, and it's honestly like surprisingly a nice environment. Like, it's not depressing. Um, and again, like the content we do is extremely interesting. It's not just like memorizing things. It's very like, again, like just testing the way you think about things. Like, for example, I just finished this 1 year classics course. So that's 3 quarters worth of, so 3 different classes amongst the quarters. And that was really rigorous, because obviously, like, the work in general is very rigorous, but you have also like degrees of rigor, because you have some slightly easier classes you can take with harder classes. And I would say like my classics course was extremely hard, but it was like one of my favorite classes, and that made my work feel not like work, even though I still had to devote a lot of hours to it. So I think the core curriculum we have, you do have to do things you might not want to do. Like, since I want to do law, obviously, like, my go-to thing is not doing math every day, but I did math for my core and I still really enjoyed it. Like, it's all, and also for classics, I would never know I would want to minor in it if I wasn't forced to take a social science. And that's how I discovered classics. And now I want to like pursue it more. So I think it's in every category of the core, you will find something you enjoy. And in that sense, even though it's rigorous, it doesn't feel as rigorous, because it's something you actually feel like you're bettering yourself. And I would say it has made me a lot smarter.
Great. So it's sort of like when you're describing finals week and how much you enjoy it despite the pressure. It's sort of like, we're all one happy family or a
Yeah.
stressed out family sitting together. Sort of like being in the army, like, we're all in this together and then we study together. And that sort of camaraderie of handling the pressure together is fun.
Yeah, and honestly, like I don't think it's where fun goes to die. I think it's what you make it because I think U Chicago has a very like work hard, play hard mentality because the social scene is very strong, which is surprising because I didn't think the social scene would be that good. But it's a very social place. Like a lot of people, they're just very social. Even if like you feel like you're an introvert, you will definitely find your people in Chicago because there are just so many different types of people and they all have like similar values. So I would say it's work hard, play hard because you study very hard, but then for the weekend you just hang out with your friends and you have a lot of fun. And then when you go back to studying, it doesn't feel as bad because you've kind of had that break, so you're ready to like tackle it again. Like it's yeah, I would say work hard, play hard is a better phrase than where fun goes to die.
Wonderful. Oh, wonderful. That's very, very nice to you. I'm sure everybody wants to work hard, play hard during college. So that's really inspiring. Okay, Anish, so about Northeastern. Now, Northeastern firstly is right opposite from Boston. So I guess there's a lot of, student engagement. It's also climbing up the world rankings very, very fast. So I'm wondering if the academic pressure is going up over there. It's also very cold a place, going from India. So tell us what that experience of studying in Northeastern is like from the academic pressure, student city, weather.
So like as you said, like Boston is like the college town of USA because you have around 100 small colleges across there, and the moment you step out of your campus, you don't feel like any college exists here. Like the city is like it's the oldest city in the US, and you have small streets, you have local cafes, and it's like beautiful. The it is a bit harsh in the cold, in like you get around minus 25 degrees Celsius, and like it's terrible, but like as soon as the sun comes out, like it's the beautiful thing ever because even though it's cold, but like the sun rays hitting you, like you feel like the perfect joy. And coming to academics, it totally depends on what kind of path you have taken, because each path have we have to do core subjects like 4 or 5 courses, but it varies from like the path, and like each course might be it could either be like very difficult or easy. It totally depends on the person, like if they know the topics or like if they have interest in that, then it becomes easy. Whereas if something you don't want to do and like you have to do some of them, that kind of becomes a bit iffy. So for me, I had to do one philosophy class, and it was a bit tricky because as a science student and I had done science in high school, I couldn't get my brain to work around in that logic. But like as soon as you get the hang of it, it becomes easy. So it totally depends on the person, like whether the person has interest in or not. So it is kind of middle of both, in the middle ground.
Right. Okay. I really like the fact that you are enjoying this, and even the weather, the fact that you're enjoying it, because I've heard so many students moan and groan about Boston, but you seem to have really adjusted to it well, and to the extent that you're already enjoying it so much. That's great to hear, Anish. Vivek, tell us about Penn State. It's one of those top public universities that people want to apply to, particularly for computer science. So, what has your experience been like in terms of, the academic environment, the university environment, the cultural environment?
Yeah, definitely. I think uh, actually before I get into academics, the weather here is kind of bad than what I was expecting. It gets really cold, and there's a very short amount of time where you actually get to feel the sun. So that is something you should really be ready for if you are coming here. But apart from that, it's a really big school. I'm at the main campus that has over 17,000 students, and then there's 24 other campuses across Pennsylvania. although they are smaller than that, but each of them has a significant amount of students for that particular region. So I think it's a really big school type of feeling that you should be open to if you are not exactly coming from a high school that's been very large. But the academic pressure that goes into a large school is relatively less. Also considering that it's a public school, because uh, wait, can you guys hear me, or is just her videos off?
No, just my video was off. Yes, I
Okay,
can
okay.
hear
I
you
thought
fine.
I got disconnected. Okay.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
so as I was saying, the academic pressure depends a lot about how you choose to take your classes. Like Abhinav said, you are able to put your bricks together towards your diploma journey. And that is exactly how it works across a lot of US universities. So in the introductory classes, everyone has to take the same kind of introductory classes, so it's going to be relatively easier. But as you move towards your specialization, either in computer vision or network security or whatever it is that you're interested in, the classes get smaller and then the workload also increases along with. If you are an honor student like me, you have to do a thesis and a research publication alongside with that. So it kind of adds up, and it's also different from individual to individual about how they go on. And now, if you add minors into the mix, that just adds to the pressure. But at the same time, I would say we're really high on school spirit. We have one of the largest football stadiums in the US, and football weekends are a really big thing here. And that really sorts of balances out the academic pressures. So I think it's a very balanced way of life. You don't have to worry about only studying and not partying or having fun during the weekend.
Right. Okay. And you saying that you're planning to transfer. So where is that coming from?
I've been here for the entire summer this time, as well as last summer. I was also here. I did not go back to Dubai. So during that time frame, I've been able to network with a couple of professors here who are working on YC-backed startups in San Francisco. And this summer, I had the chance to go to a OpenAI-backed hacker house that's in San Francisco. It's called The Residency. It's like a program they run for upcoming entrepreneurs and startups, which are backed by the Y Combinator. So I was there for the past couple of months, and I was able to network with the student body there, and also decided that it's a really good opportunity if I go to San Francisco, because that is the tech scene right now. And it's not like that Penn State has a bad computer science program, but of course, Berkeley is the Silicon Valley of USA, so it's definitely going to be better than Penn State. So that's where
Absolutely.
the transfer is coming
So
from.
it's coming
And
from wanting to move into that Silicon Valley environment as a person in technology. That makes sense, right?
it was not my first choice to move away because my brother's coming in here, Penn State, in the next semester.
Okay.
But the couple of people that I'm working with on a project right now, even though I've signed an NDA, this is like a generic term that I'm saying. Uh, it's better for them if it's better for all of us to collaborate at the same time if I'm there living with them. So they have put in a word with the UC Berkeley Global Access Department. There's like uh, a specific department that handles the transfers, and that's how I'm getting like to UC Berkeley. So I'm not applying to be a transfer applicant. It's more so like a professor asking a student to come here.
Wonderful.
So
That
it's gonna be
sounds
like,
even better than a regular transfer. Vivek, very, very happy for you that
thank you
I
so
hope
much,
things
Ucha.
really work out for you there.
Thank
All
you.
right. So my last question to all of you is really about your advice to students, not only students who are applying to your college, but in general students who are in that grade 11 and 12 time where, college applications are so strong. What did you learn? What would be one piece of general advice and one piece of advice for applying to your university in particular? Tara, let's start with you.
So, University of Toronto is actually the only Canadian university I applied to. So my general application process is very different to, I guess, everything else. Like I don't think you submit essays for University of Toronto if I'm recalling right.
You do,
I
you
think you
do
submit,
submit essays. You do submit
do
essays.
you?
You must
Well,
have
it's a
about.
lot less than I think the US
Well,
was.
actually, by that time, you've submitted so many US essays that,
Yeah.
the Toronto essays just slide out of your fingertips. But
I think it was just a little less than what I had expected. Also, the way you apply when you're from Canada and when you're international is very different. The biggest thing I think that helped me was just having good essays. I think even if in comparison to my district, even if my marks and my grades weren't as good as maybe some other people, I think my essay and the stories I wrote in that were a lot better and they showed what I wanted to do a lot more. And the things I did throughout high school were the same things. Like I didn't just do random things for fun. Everything sort of had a reason. I was able to use that in the essay. So I think it's just tying everything together and yeah, making sure your essays are okay because I mean it shows that you are a person rather than a
right,
robot.
right. And academics, I think that most Canadian universities, including U Toronto, are really looking for the numbers, and you really have to get your numbers
Yeah,
in place, right?
yeah.
That's important. Okay, right. Thank you, Tara, for that. Right. And what she's essentially saying is that all your activities should think through what activities you're putting your energies into because there is only that much energy, right? Anish, you tell us, for us, for you, I remember that class 12 period was a period of a fair amount of stress and, the academics were challenging for a while. You were, struggling a little bit in grade 11 and then you found your feet and you put everything together and then you got this wonderful admission. So what advice would you give to grade 12 students or grade 11 students?
The one advice I would give is like focus on your exams. Like people say like the grades don't matter, but they actually do. Universities actually see how ready you are for the universities and like how are you ready to come out in the world. So you should have an application where you have your portfolio should incline towards your goal in life. So that is the main advice I would like to give.
Okay, great. So I think that that's what one needs to internalize it. I guess it sounds intuitive, but to actually, work it out and to internalize it, that's the important thing. Sarah, what would you say for a student applying to U Chicago's? It's a dreams university for many, many students. So what advice would you give them?
I would say obviously your grades are very important. And I feel like that's like a baseline though. I think for your extracurriculars, they just want to see you go above and do something that's not just for extracurriculars, like some sort of project. Also, I would say I feel like that's for any top university though, but I feel like for U Chicago specifically, the essays are very important. They put a lot of weight on that because one of the essays is like the classic like why U Chicago, which obviously do your research, but that's not like dissimilar to a lot of other universities. I think specifically for U Chicago, they have a creative essay, which is like you can choose from a list of prompts or make your own prompt. And I made my own prompt, and they just want to see you be like creative and like show you have some form of original thinking that because it's very easy for a lot of people to be like bots and replicas of each other and just have good grades and like all this stuff. But they want to see like something original. And they put a lot of weight in their community, which I do think shows because all the people they choose have this similar value of like being open to others and like being fun and being quirky. That's what they're like known for. So I think just showing that in your essay, because in my essay, like my essay was essentially about Disney villains and how I think
Scar,
Disney villains.
particularly from Lion King, I
Yeah,
remember. That was a
yeah.
beautiful essay, I remember. Really engaging to read. We all loved it, really. I think
Thank
it was about whether Scar is a villain or how he developed to be a villain. Wasn't it something like that?
Yeah, it was the villain from Princess and the Frog, which again, like on face value, seems like why would you write about that for a college essay? But they want to see you be very like creative and make deeper connections. So yeah, I wrote my essay on like how Disney villains are misunderstood, and then I connected that to like rehabilitation in the prison system and just like expanded it and said how no one's inherently good or bad. And um like the admissions people reached out to me and said they really liked it, which the only reason I'm mentioning it is because the essay holds a huge weight in your decision factor because they want to see something new, essentially.
Absolutely. Thank you, Sarah. And I think that, not everybody has that great skill in writing. I think you're a great, wonderful writer anyway, and you love writing. But I think everybody can sort of find that very unique voice, but you need to work more at it. And it's the U Chicago essay really demands that sort of, attention from people.
Yeah. It doesn't even necessarily need to be like good writing. It just needs to be like, I know someone did like an essay on math and they created their own like some sort of computer program and like put it in the form. Like it just has to be creative. It doesn't have to be like just good authorship, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, it has to be fascinatingly original, I think, that's the main thing, right? Okay, Vivek, you tell us, how about Penn State, and what advice would you give to students applying this year or next year?
Definitely. I would say it's a relatively easier school to get into compared to IVs, but the important uh, factor about what you're coming here to do is more so not in the admission criteria. Of course, essays hold weight and your grades matter, but one of the biggest issues I've seen with people is that even though they do get in, we don't accept students into their program directly. So when you apply for, let's say, computer science, I was not accepted directly into the computer science program. I still have to do the prereqs and maintain a GPA requirement to declare myself a comp sci major. And I think what Tara said about U of T having weed out courses, that is a really big thing here because I know a lot of people come here to do computer science and then they end up switching to either data science or quantitative science or something like that, which is relatively easier to get into and because they were not able to pass the comp sci classes. So I think that is important when you are applying to at least Penn State about if you are applying for computer science, even though you do get in, it's not a image about how easy it is to get into the comp sci program, but more so about your ability to actually handle the coursework.
Sorry, there's a distance between getting into the university and getting into the major, and that's
Yeah, most definitely. Yeah, because a lot of them, uh, most majors like finance, econ, comp sci, all of them are called control majors, which means that even when in your admission letter, it does say that we welcome you to Penn State University Park for a computer science program. But if you don't meet the prerequisite classes or the GPA requirement, you don't get a degree in computer science. So that's a really tricky caveat that they have that you have to keep in mind. Because the admission process is relatively easier, this is where the hard part kicks in.
right. Don't think that you won the battle once you've got it.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you, Vivek. Very, very good advice from you. And I hope people who are hoping to apply this year are hearing that. All right, Abhinav, over to you then. And again, Brown is a dream university for many people, and yet it's a very unique Ivy in the sense just their open curriculum sort of being in its own world by itself. What are they looking for, and what advice would you give to students applying this year or next year?
So, to be honest about the application process itself, there's not much I can tell anybody here that you can't, Richa, because you told me a lot of what I know and I learned it from you. But I will say that when it comes to Brown, something I wish I had been told earlier was that uh, there's really, with the open curriculum, no holds barred. When you're applying, you can really dream as big as you want to for what you would like to do academically. And like, I'm doing two majors at the complete ends of the spectrum. I'm doing the most humanity you can do, and I'm doing the most STEM subject you can do, in my opinion. And it's just like, you know, when you're applying to Brown, that's what I think more than anything else, more than the academics, which are important, and the essays and the extracurriculars, which are equally as important. I think they're looking for just someone who's trying to like just follow their dreams and do exactly what they want to pursue in life, and not for an answer, and just like they're only willing to accept the best for themselves and their future, and they're trying to pursue what they would like to. And so I would say that, if you're thinking of applying, just dream as big as you would like, because really there's no holds barred when you're trying to achieve something.
Right, so they're looking for
Yeah.
people with that, intellectual boldness, and people who can really give ideas that are original and that really come together nicely. All right, excellent. So that's something for everyone to remember, and of course, it also means that you have to get your grades in place first, and then whatever Sarah is saying about the essay, or what Abhinav is saying about the intellectual boldness you show in your essays, all of that only comes together if you pass the bar when it comes to grades. So don't forget that. That's coming from me as a counselor, but you've got all these wonderful, inspiring ideas and advice from so many students. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the webinar, and thank you so much. Tara, Vivek, Anish, Sara, Abhinav, thank you so much for joining us. I really loved how you guys have shared so much about your university in such a thoughtful and open way. So thank you for joining us, and thank you for sharing your ideas, and thank you everybody for joining our webinar. I hope you guys have really had a great time. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Richa.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Richard.
Have
Thank
a
you.
good weekend, everybody.